What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Making Podcasts Great Again. I am your tech stuff guy, Nog, and we are here, of course, with the president of Mar-a-Lago of the United States of America, Mr. Donald J. Trump. Taking it all in, Mr. President. How are you?
Taking it all in. That's what we always say to Roger Stone's wife. Total pro.
How's your week been going? Well, actually, we spoke the other day. Thank you. I really appreciate the girl dad advice. I told my wife about some of the advice. She just nodded at me and didn't say a word. She just nodded the whole time.
She might not have had a great Trump level girl dad herself, so she might not really understand the power of the lessons. But I didn't realize that was you. You were the same tech stuff guy.
Same guy. Yep.
Well, you're welcome, and good luck.
I appreciate that. Now, Mr. President, I know you have not been to Washington in a few, but I want to know how you feel about this Georgia Rep Marjorie Taylor Greene. What do you think of her?
I mean, one of the all-time best. I don't want to say, the love I have for Big Huck.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but that is a Mount Rushmore Trump loyalist. She is so talented, so tough. Uh, you know, Normally I don't like women whose arms are bigger than their breasts, but I make a very strong exception for Matthew Taylor Greene.
It's Marjorie. You're calling her a man's name. You're calling her Matthew.
Okay, okay, maybe I misspoke. Okay, Mitchell Greene is almost sounds like a black, but she's tough. She got the big arms and a lot of attitude, and the Democrats don't want to mess with her.
No, they don't. What do you think of what she said? I don't have the exact quote in front of me, but to summarize it, she compared wearing masks in Congress, because there's a mandate to wear masks in Congress now, to gold stars the Jews had to wear in the Holocaust. That is the analogy she made, the comparison.
I think I normally don't criticize Mark Greene, but I will tell you I think that's disrespectful. I think
Wow.
I think what they are doing with masks is worse than anything we've ever seen, and I think it's unfair to make comparisons.
Wait, are you saying it's unfair that they're wearing masks?
What the Democrats and the left are doing with masks is like nothing we've ever seen before, and I don't think it's fair to compare it to other things because you sort of diminish the mask disgrace. You diminish it by comparing it to other things that happened in the past. Like, it is an unprecedented disgrace.
You don't think they're just trying to stay safe until everybody gets their vaccines, or at least herd immunity or something? I mean, places are opening up. They had almost a full capacity at the Knicks game. I think it was half the other night for the playoff games. Sports are coming back. They're having
What is
all
this, a Bet
restaurants open
Online
now.
AG read?
No, but what I'm saying
Sports are
is that
coming back.
we're opening the country, and if they're just trying to
Oh,
watch
thank
out,
God you said tree at the end of that.
if they've
We're opening the country.
tree,
If you do it like Pauly Shore.
the Lisa.
Don't ever do that impression again.
No, I'm not the impression guy here.
Well,
Now,
I do a great Shinzo, that we know.
yes, but I understand. Don't you just think it's despicable that she compared it to the Holocaust? How can you compare wearing masks where no one is dying except if you get COVID to being persecuted for being a group of people? I mean, that's totally different.
Right. We persecute lots of groups all the time, but masks are like, you saw what happened in that movie with Cher and the big headed orange guy. You put a mask, you'll have a big head and you'll die. I mean, I think at least the Holocaust, they didn't deform you with a big head before you died. masks, can turn you into crazy people like Jim Carrey. They can turn you into big-headed orange head people like Cher's son in Mask. So I think masks are the worst. And I think I actually called Greene. I called,
Yes, Marjorie Taylor Greene,
right. Um,
MTG.
Mikhail Greene. I called Mikhail Greene and said, listen, dude, you don't make that comparison. The struggle that we are fighting with masks is unlike anything we've ever dealt with. There have been problems in the past, but what we're going through fighting the masks, I think it is, hashtag never forget. Okay.
I, don't you think you are getting upset about the wrong thing here? They're
No,
comparing it to the Holocaust. Do you really think mask wearing should be compared to the Holocaust, where over
I've
six
already,
million Jews were killed?
excuse me. I've already said I don't think the masks should be compared to anything.
You're almost saying the masks are worse than the Holocaust, is what you're.
No, no, I'm saying masks are worse. It's not like anything. That's what I'm saying. I've been tech stuff. Obviously, we should have had a listening skills workshop on the bonus episode because that's exactly what I'm saying.
So you think it's worse than the Holocaust? That's a crazy statement to make.
I think it's because the left has ugly women and they want them to cover up their faces and they want to take the beautiful conservative women and make them cover up their faces.
So you think it's a ploy to cover up people's faces?
I do. And then, when you're at a party and they say, oh, masks only, I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? Have sex with their ear?
Okay. It's an interesting take on this. Have you any updates? I know you're close with BB. Are there any updates on Israel?
Israel's doing great. Bibi, called me the other day and he said, hello. And I said, hello, Bibi, you sound very tough. And he said, I am tough. Thank you for asking. And I now have beaten up 6 Palestinian children this morning. And I said, why only 6? You didn't have your full breakfast? And he said, I only wanted 2 scrambled eggs, but they only gave me 1. So I only had the energy to defeat 6 Palestinian children. And I said, well, I would, next order of business, beat up that chef who only gave you 1 egg. And then he laughed and went to beat up his chef.
Does BB know Krav Maga? That's it's a famous martial art in Israel.
I think BB invented Crow McGraw.
It's Krav Maga. He invented it.
No, I think he invented Krav Miyagi, and that's why he has a dojo and he teaches people.
You're telling me BB, he is the leader of Israel and then also runs his own dojo on the side?
It's called BB Dojo.
Have you been to it before when you were in Israel?
I visited and he was standing there and they were all in there. What is it called? A gi?
It's a gi.
And he's standing there in his gi and he says, there is no mercy in this dojo. And they said, yes, BB. And then he said, mercy is for the weak. And they said, yes, BB. And then a skinny Palestinian kid came in with his Asian sensei and he said, do we have a problem? And the little sensei said, no problem. And then BB said, please show these. He said, please show these people out, Mr. Lawrence. And I guess one of his students was named Jonathan Lawrence. And he came over and he showed him out. And then some of BB's students beat up the Palestinian kid at a Halloween party.
I think.
And then at the end of the tournament, BB tried to beat up Jonathan Lawrence.
What happened? Jonathan Lawrence started his own dojo.
Well, Jonathan got his own TV show called uh, BB Kai, and all of a sudden, BB was very busy being prime minister, but then BB showed up in season 2 and said, "I am back, Mr. Lawrence." So it was pretty good. BB's very versatile.
this, this sounds like a show I've seen before. I think in the past you've also mixed up this movie with something else as well, if I could remember correctly. I don't remember the incident, but I think you've mixed up the Karate Kid with other things you've talked
Well,
about.
no, this is BB Dojo, and
Okay.
it's very simple. And he's tough though. He's a tough guy, and he's teaching the young Israeli kids very important lessons. He's mercy is for the weak.
Well, he seems like a great sensei.
And people don't know this about BB. He was in Vietnam.
Was he? And he didn't fall into the pit of snakes.
He was in Vietnam and the 1967 war. So he's very tough.
He's very, very, very tough man. Wow, I did not know that about BB. That's very interesting information. But everything is okay in Israel right now since the ceasefire. Everything is peaceful.
Well, except for BB walking around beating up, middle school kids.
Right, except BB's bullying. But besides that, everything is okay.
It seems to be going well. They have good technology. They have Gal Gadot, so I guess they're okay.
Well, that's good. Um, there's not a. I have a lot of pop culture news here. There's one other really newsworthy article about you that there's a man named Dan Bongino, the Dan Bongino show.
No, I call him Bongina.
You call him Bongino? Does he enjoy that nickname?
You look at him and you realize if you look at Bongina, you look at him and say, no wonder this guy's such a strong conservative. He looks like, did you ever see True Romance?
Yes.
Remember the speech Dennis Hopper gives about Sicilians?
Yes.
Bongina, I look at him and I go, are you Sicilian or are you like, what part of Africa are you from in Sicily? And I think that's why he's such a strong conservative because he's sort of very self hating.
Well, you must like this guy considering that his premiere episode on Fox is this week and you are his first interview.
Oh, yes, I am. No, he's a very talented guy. He's very loyal. He argues all the time with my former friend, uh, Geraldo Rico Suave Rivera.
Now, how do you know this man? You never really, his name was really never brought up. I never really heard about this guy until I saw the article.
Well, we have a lot of supporters out there, and he's been a very sort of tough. I don't mean this as an insult, but he's sort of been a second tier supporter. He's not at the Tucker, Sean Hannity level, but he's been a very vocal supporter and very aggressive on social media. And I think he's one of the founders of Parler,
Really?
or he has a big stake in Parler.
And that's your
And he
your social
definitely
media
and he
platform.
definitely says it with the hard R.
Does it? Well, that's good. Well, he is in charge of it, so he should say it with the hard R, right? So Dan Bongino show. How did the interview go? I know it didn't air yet, but can you give us like a sneak preview or any kind of inside information?
I actually had to calm him down. He was saying, "Sir, I'm ready to go attack Sleepy Joe Biden for you, sir." And I said, "Calm down, Bongina. It's okay. Down, boy."
He's very aggressive. What was he? He was a before. Was he
He,
CIA? What was he
he was a
before?
Secret Service
Secret
agent,
Service. So
and
he's
I
got.
think there were certain presidents. I think they had to make sure they had to have a Secret Service to protect Obama from Bongina.
Bongina. Does he enjoy that nickname you gave him?
I think he enjoys everything. He's so loyal that I could shoot him on Fifth Avenue and he'd still be a fan.
Wow. That is extremely loyal. Do you think the interview went well? Because you can edit up these interviews. I'm sure you sat down with them for like an hour, and probably only about 15 minutes is going to air. Um, do you think the interview went well?
Well, sure. He's a loyal person. He's a fair person. He's fair and balanced. That's all I ask. I ask that people be fair and they be strong and they be nice. And if they're nice and strong and fair, we I can have a great interview with even a radical left person who doesn't act like a total piece of shit.
Right. But what I'm trying to say is that it's his first show. He wants ratings. You're not nervous that he excuse me, does like an edit job on you
Oh no, we
where
all.
he
I mean, we did rapings after the show, so I didn't have to worry about getting those.
I'm talking about editing things that you would say and stopping them so it would seem out of context just to get written up in the news and people tweeting about it to give more attention to his show. I mean, that would be
No, no,
something that
no,
I
no.
would be nervous
He's
about.
no, no. He's a strong supporter, and like any normal journalism, I get final edits on his show.
Do you really? You get final edits on a show that you are guesting on. That's amazing. Okay, well then you don't
Well,
have to worry about any of this.
you know what tech stuff? It's called power. You should try it sometime.
I
It was
will.
on Stars, and it had a lot of African Americans. Not
Well,
racist.
not at all. Well, I can't wait to see the interview. I know you don't do many interviews anymore. So,
I did OAN. I did OAN last week
right. But that was
with the
one interview.
Polynesian slut Chanel Rion.
that's
That
that's their
is
nickname.
that is a thirsty bitch, and I say that with great love and respect.
Of course, I felt the love and respect when you said thirsty bitch. Now, Mr. President, before we head to our next topic, we have an awesome sponsor this week, and that is betonline.ag. I know you use betonline.ag for all your sports betting. I use it on unfortunately I did not put money on Phil Mickelson this weekend, and I'm sure that was a nice big payday for a 50-year-old to win the PGA championship. But
You
Bet
know, Phil
Online,
Phil
yes.
called me after. Phil called me after, and he said, "Sir, I'm glad you weren't there because you would have beaten me."
Now, Mr. President, we're talking about golf, and Phil Mickelson won the PGA Championship at age 50, which is pretty amazing, beating out all these 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds. I mean, a 50-year-old winning it, and he had some amazing, amazing shots. Now, there was a video going around on TMZ about you. Your golf swing is very unorthodox. It almost reminds me of when, if you ever seen Donald Duck in a cartoon when he's about to golf, he walks up to the ball and like takes these little short swings and then hits it really hard. And there's a shot of you hitting a ball right into the water. Now, for a man who plays golf so much, you couldn't clear the water hazard on your own golf course. And this was at Bedminster. Struggled during the round of golf, people are saying in the article. Tell us what happened, really.
I was golfing with some friends, okay, and as you know, I'm a very strong golfer. And even though it's not Black History Month, the club gave me a black caddy. And so I said, okay, very nice. I'm going to maintain strong presidential composure. And I said, well, I know what I'll do. I'll do something I've never done in my entire golf career, and that's make a bad shot. So I hit the ball into the water and said, okay, sorry, caddy, I need you to go get that water. You need to get that ball in the water. But as you know, African Americans aren't known for their swimming skills. And he went in to get the ball and he drowned. And because he was not a strong swimmer, and also because I held him down in the water. And then they assigned me a new caddy, and I had a great round of golf after that.
Did you hit it? You hit it on purpose into the water so the black caddy would go in there even though he doesn't know how to swim?
Tech stuff. Is there an audio issue
There is
going
no
on?
audio issue. I'm just kind of shocked that you basically murdered a man on your golf course.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Yeah.
That is false.
Well, you knew someone didn't know how to swim, and then you made him go
I
into.
assumed he couldn't swim because sometimes strong stereotypes are true.
Did he say anything when you said go in the water? Did he just jumped in?
We were by the water and he said, sir, he called me sir. And he
That's
said,
good.
sir, I can't. And I kicked him in the water and I said, get my ball. So I don't know what the rest of the I can't. Maybe it was I can't believe it's not butter. You know, he might have been saying that. So I had no idea.
So you didn't really hear him say anything, just I can't, and then blah, 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 and that's it.
And then, you know, as he was, you know, I assumed he was an Obama fan because he's African American. And I said, yes, we can. And then we walked away.
You don't feel bad about any of these actions, Mr. President? You don't take any sort of you don't feel bad about any decisions you ever made?
Um, no, I feel bad about a few. There was the time I was supposed to drive um, Martha Maples to
Marla.
Planned Parenthood, and I actually was golfing and missed it. And unfortunately, that night she said, "Darling, I've decided to keep it." And I said, "Should have driven you."
So not having one of your children aborted is something that you regret, a decision that you regret. Which child would have it been?
Well, alleged, no, we don't know. I don't know that she was, you know, but it's the Tracy Trump.
Tiffany. Tiffany.
Oh,
You got the
oh,
right letter. Tiffany is
Talia, you're saying Talia Trump
Talia. I mean,
from
you
Natalia
say that
Shire? She
you
was
think
in Rocky.
you say my headphones don't work, but it's
Tara Trump.
Tiffany Trump. Tiffany. Like Tiffany, like the jewelry store. I'm sure you've gone shopping there a
Who's,
lot.
you know, we got to stop attacking. You know, from what I've heard, we've been having too many attacks on jewelry stores.
Is that how it's been going?
I turn on the news, and you know, in Israel, they were saying there's been there are attacks on jewelry people.
I think it's just Jews in
Well,
Palestine.
they can shorten it to however they want to say it.
You
You know,
are right.
out of respect, I refer to them by their full name,
Jewelry.
the jewelry people.
I don't know if Jews. I don't think Jew is short for jewelry people. Is that what you think? Since they all work in the Diamond District.
Diamond Dallas Page.
You like Diamond Dallas Page?
Oh, he's a wrestler, and by the way, not a Hall of Fame wrestler yet, I don't think.
I'm not sure about that, but he does have a very successful yoga business.
And he'll never get into the Wrestling Hall of Fame doing radical left yoga.
I don't know if his yoga is really radical left.
It's pretty radical left.
When you were finishing Netflix, did you see the Jake the Snake Roberts documentary with Diamond Dallas Page?
No, but I heard that they were both very weak and were not strong wrestlers, and now they had to do yoga and cry a lot.
How can you not be a fan of Jake the Snake? He's one of the all-time best wrestlers ever.
Well, you know what? I'm in the Hall of Fame and you're not, so I speak from strong wrestling credentials.
How many times did you actually wrestle in the ring, Mr. President?
A few times, but that's the point. In other words, you've proven my point. I wrestled a couple of times and they were like, "Sir, you're a Hall of Famer."
Is that how you look? You don't think maybe because your notoriety and putting you in the Hall of Fame would look good for the WWE?
Well,
Do you think your wrestling skills got you in the Hall of Fame?
I think it was the total package. I was the ultimate warrior, and some people even said I was Mr. Perfect. If you smell what Donald's cooking.
But that's The Rock.
Who? Barack Obama?
No, The Rock. Can you smell what The Rock is cooking? That's The Rock. That
I
was
can smell. I
his.
can smell what the Guatemalan lady's cooking outside, and it smells like reheated McDonald's. My favorite.
So you're a fan
Oh,
of the Guatemalan cooking.
not really.
Oh. Have you been still having your steady dose of McDonald's? We haven't heard about your McDonald's in a while.
Well, anybody who listened to the bonus episode, actually this afternoon, I went for milkshakes at McDonald's with Ivanka.
Okay. So McDonald's game is still
You know
strong.
how strong she is, and I love the commitment because she's in her late 30s now, or she might even be 40. But I love the commitment she now. What she does is for a challenge, she gets one of those beer helmets and puts two thick McDonald's milkshakes in there, and puts the two straws. So she's like doing double the strong sucking.
That's it's amazing. It is amazing. Um, this image in my head of her with one of those beer helmets just won't disappear.
Oh no, it's a very unattractive look, which is why I have her go. I get emotional. I have her go to McDonald's in a thong bikini when she's going to wear the beer helmet because
This, I know we're bringing up the last bonus episode, and this gets you very emotional. I'm sorry.
it's you've got to balance. When a woman like that, she wears some clear heels, a white thong bikini, and the beer helmet because obviously it's got a balance. Uh, and it's still it makes me so proud and happy when I see her just
Sucking down those milkshakes out of both straws. So
it's uh it's a beautiful it's just such a beautiful moment.
it's a real champ you got there. Now, Mr. President, I want to hear what you think about this news story. You know, A Rod and J Lo broke up. They were supposed to get
I do. The
married.
Queen of Puerto Rico and J-Lo.
Well, that brings up you know what, calling A Rod the Queen of Puerto Rico actually matches with this story. Do you know?
Although I think he's Dominican, which is obviously uh, that's like the African American part of Puerto Rico, which is of course located in the southern part of Mexico.
I did not know that, but now I know. DR is in the southern part of Mexico.
Strong. I call them Dominican Mexicans,
Okay.
and they're different from Puerto Rico. You have to respect the different cultures, tech stuff.
Okay.
They don't like it when you've got to recognize that some of them are Mexican Mexicans, some are Dominican Mexicans, and other ones like J-Lo are Puerto Rican Mexicans.
So if you are from Latino descent, you are some sort of Mexican.
And a rapist.
All right. Clear that up. We're
And
getting
they're not sending their best, except
well,
for J-Lo and Salma Hayek.
well when they broke up, A Rod, and I want to hear what you think of this because you care about the way you look, right? I'm I'm saying this in the nicest way possible. You're vain, where you care about your appearance a lot.
You probably think this podcast's about you.
Always bring it back to music. Now, A Rod started a men's makeup line. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, Mike Pence is very happy. I can tell you that. Uh, this is what happens when you have a Sleepy Joe as president and a fancy pants Obama. You don't have real men anymore. You don't have tough, strong, powerful men. They're called Metrosexuals.
I don't think that's, I think it's a little more extreme. I understand a metrosexual is someone who cares about fashion, cares about the way they look, but when you're applying makeup, and I've seen one of these commercials where they have a makeup for underneath your eyes. If you have little bags underneath your eyes, that's part of the men's makeup. And I don't know what else is part of it. I don't think men should be wearing makeup, have facial
Well,
hair.
the radical left is going to attack you for that tech stuff. They're going to be saying, "Oh, he hangs out with Donald Trump, so therefore he's anti-men with makeup." Well, guess what? I'm very anti-men with makeup. Okay.
I'm on the same page as you, Mr. President. Men should not
Well,
be wearing makeup.
and Mike Pence isn't because him and Mother think books are a thing of the devil, so they can't even be on the same page.
So, would you, if A Rod came to you, I know you probably wouldn't invest in the company.
Well, now he probably does come to me now that you're telling me he wears makeup. He probably sees me on TV and says, "What a big, strong president."
Would you ever think about if it made you look better and made your appearance look better, especially running for president again in a couple of years,
Look,
to
look,
wear men's
look,
makeup?
look. My supporters, they like me because I'm a strong man, a traditional strong man. Not because I do any of the other, my hair is all natural, my skin color is all natural.
I was going to say that you do wear bronzer sometimes or some sort of
Only
tanning,
for, no, no, excuse me, only for Halloween parties.
but there have been pictures of you getting onto Air Force One where your neck is a different complexion than your whole entire face.
Well, I wear suits. I wear suits often, and you only get certain sun exposure. You ever wear a tank top in the summer, and then all of a sudden you're like, "Oh, I have a tan line."
Right.
If I was, excuse me, if I was an A Rod, okay, if I was a
Mhm.
gay Rod, what I would do is I would I would say, "Oh, put some of the Alex Rodriguez neck foundation there so that it matches." That is what a big gay Pence presidency might do.
Okay.
Not a manly, strong Trump presidency.
So you would not entertain. How about for payment? If you were getting a substantial amount of
They'd have
money,
to give me a lot of money.
how much money would you wear makeup for?
Let me do the calculations.
Please.
Taxes owed to the federal government, and also paying off whores multiplied by 27 years, plus buying off judges. I would endorse, as strictly a business proposition, the A-Rod gay men's makeup crisis
Yeah.
for $7.2 billion.
Billion. Wow. Okay. So that's a far fetched. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of calculations there. That's a very high number. I don't think A Rod would be able to afford that, but at least he knows now how much what your price is to wear the men's makeup.
But imagine I did that because you're going to have the left. All the men on the left are going to be wearing the A-Rod makeup. But if I do it, guess what? All the men on the right do it. You double your clientele.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think he would see that money back for sure if you endorsed, or if you did endorse that and your supporters weren't ride or die with you, that maybe will make you lose your supporters.
Excuse me. They are ride or die. Now, the only issue is, and I think this is a nice benefit, some of my supporters would commit hate crimes on the men wearing the makeup. And then you have a double usage because then you can do concealer. You can use A-Rod concealer to cover up all the bruises and cuts from the MAGA attacks. And now you're getting more sales.
Well, you are always thinking as a businessman, Mr. President. Last thing I wanted to talk to you about today, another uh, pop culture news article. Do you know the Paul brothers? I think they blew up on YouTube. Jake Paul and Logan Paul. Do you know who these characters are?
I have seen some of their work. I know they're like sort of pranksters, and they're worth a lot of money. By the way, I think you know. I think we might. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw President Logan Paul one day.
It's possible. I think they are definitely um, multi millionaires. I think for Jake Paul, I think he was quoted as saying he made $80 million on his last boxing match. They box. Jake Paul has knocked out um,
Kevin Hart. I remember he
not
punched
Kevin
Kevin
Hart,
Hart.
Nate Robinson, and
I
he
saw it. That was Kevin Hart.
well, just because he's a small black man doesn't mean that he's Kevin Hart. But it was Nate Robinson, former NBA player, played for the Knicks. I'm
Oh
sure you
no,
read
no.
a couple of
Okay,
games.
excuse me. No, it was Gary Coleman, and he said, "What you talking about, Willis?" And then got knocked the crap out of him.
I don't think so. But they they have a huge enterprise. They are multimillionaires, and
It's pronounced millionaires.
multimillionaires. And Logan Paul is going to fight um, Floyd Mayweather next month, which I think is
And you know what I call that matchup?
what do you call it?
Cerebral palsy, because Floyd Mayweather is such a smart guy, and then you're fighting a Paul brother, so we call it. See how I should? I'm like the Don. I'm like the white Don King.
That's what you should call the fight, cerebral palsy. It's not a bad title for it. All right. Hey,
Shut up, Tiffany.
hey,
Tiffany, that's
hey,
enough.
both of you.
Tiffany, give Tiffany a treat. I knew she'd show
Hey,
up to a
stop
podcast
it.
eventually.
I'm sorry. There's an extra dog here this week.
No, I know this. Tiffany, I heard. I know Tiffany when I hear her. I can no longer deny her. She finally crashed a podcast.
she broke into my house, and that's how she's getting on the podcast by barking into the microphone. If you stop it, Cash, stop.
What if they're tech stuff? I don't like try to support you, but what if there's an African American on the property?
No, it's my neighbors just taking care of their lawn. That's
Whoa,
all it is.
with a hard R?
Neighbors, I guess neighbors with a hard R, since it does. Yes, there's hard R neighbors, I guess. Yeah. I'm saying with the hard R. Stop it, both of you. Oh my gosh. My apologies, Mr. President. What I was trying to say.
Apology not accepted.
Okay. Well, I don't know where to go from there. Do you think Logan Paul has a shot of actually being able to put sentences together after this fight?
Well, it's a smart choice because Frank Mayflower is a
Floyd Mayweather. Don't respect Floyd Mayweather. Don't disrespect him. He's in my opinion, the best boxer of all time.
He fights a very defensive sort of. He's very quick. He's very defensive. So that's the kind. So if you're gonna fight somebody like that, it's better. That's why Christopher McGregor fought Frank Mayweather with for their fight, because at least you may not be able to beat him, but he's not really a knockout artist. So it's a little safer to go up against him, even though you're going to lose. You may not lose by knockout.
I think that they stopped the McGregor fight, and I think if it would have went longer, he would have eventually knocked him out. I think Floyd Mayweather chooses not to be a knockout artist and is very finesse boxer, where he tires people out, gets them frustrated, and basically hits them and doesn't get hit. I think that's a great strategy. You don't have to be a knockout artist to be the best boxer, but I do think he is going to tool up Logan Paul. I think he's going to show everyone that Logan Paul and Jake Paul, they should not be in the ring just because you've been training for 3 years as a boxer. I think he's going to tune him up, and I hope he Sends a message that both Paul brothers do not get in the ring ever again. I don't know why. I can't
I
stand
have a
those guys.
feeling that Floyd Mayweather probably bet like $100 million on Jake Paul, and
And
then
he's
he
gonna take a
takes a
fall.
dive because I think he loves gambling more than he loves boxing.
He does enjoy gambling, but will you tarnish your record and tarnish your reputation losing to a YouTube star? I don't think there's enough money to make him lose to a YouTube star.
What does it count? Is it like count for his professional record?
No, you are right. I think it's technically considered
So
an
it might be,
exhibition
if we're
match.
lucky, this might be like Rocky Four, where the big white guy gets in there and murders the black, and then his brother has to well, I don't know who's Justin Bieber. Isn't Justin Bieber Floyd Mayweather's white friend? So that Bieber could be like Rocky,
And
and he
Bieber
goes to
comes,
Russia
takes out the Paul.
with his fake pastor, and they go and they say some prayers and get tattoo sleeves, and all of a sudden Justin Bieber beats the crap out of Mayweather, beats the crap out of Jake Paul in Russia, and then they meet with BB at the BB Dojo.
Well, that's
If
a
he
great movie.
dies, if he dies, he dies.
That was BB talking to me about a preschool of Palestinian kids.
Oh, I think it's time to end the night, Mr. President. And
Yes, Mr. President, I think we should end the podcast before we reveal more of my secrets that I'm telling you in confidence in Israel.
I like the whole new. I think the Cobra Kai writers should definitely be listening to this episode because I think there's a future movie for them and another season after this one comes out. I thank all the listeners for always tuning in every single week. Check out our Patreon. We have bonus episodes. Tons of bonus episodes. We have movie reviews. We have special guests on the bonus episodes. We have live Q&As. Bonus episode went up yesterday where it's the Girl Dad Advice episode where you give me advice since I'm having a daughter this week. You gave me great Girl Dad advice. It's patreon.com/MPGA. We had a ton of people sign up this past week, and there are going to be more announcements this year on the Patreon as well. So that's patreon.com/MPGA. A lot of stuff going on with the Perfect Tens. Our Patreon president did not show up for the last episode. So there's lots of drama going on, and we're going to most likely have a new election. So please join whatever level is good for you. That's patreon.com/MPGA. And also sign up on the YouTube page, which costs nothing. Costs nothing. Be a subscriber for the YouTube page and give a rating and review on iTunes. Also costs nothing. Mr. President, the floor is yours.
Hello, this is Bibi Netanyahu.
No, hey guys. I always feel like I'm Donald Trump Jr. What's up, guys?
Hey.
What's the radical left? Sleepy Joe Biden. Sleepy Joe Biden is such a piece of shit, guys. Hey, thank you for sticking with us. And yes, thank you to several new people who signed up for the Patreon. If you are a regular listener and you enjoy the show, it's a great way to just support the show. But it's not in our makeup to just be like, support us, give us money. You get a lot of stuff. And if you've held off up until now, there is like a whole fucking other experience.
At least
like
100
waiting
episodes
for
to
you.
listen
Right.
to.
Like there is so much great stuff over the last year just sitting there waiting for you to enjoy. So if you can join at whatever level, like Jay said, it helps us, but it helps, we just want to keep giving you guys good stuff and keep you engaged. As far as me coming up, just two big sets of shows for me in June. June 10th, which I've mentioned on social media a bunch. I'm headlining the Hartford Funny Bone in Connecticut. A very, very big show for me there. So if you are anywhere near Hartford, I'd much appreciate it if you would come to that show. And then June 18th and 19th in Levittown, Long Island, I am opening for Roy Wood Jr. of Comedy Central. So links for those are on my website. As usual, go when you're done listening to this podcast. If you're not a listener of the Righteous PK podcast, go check that out. And
also, hopefully in August, September, we'll be hitting the road for some dates also together because I'll finally be able to do stand up again indoors. So that should be a good time also. But yeah, Everyone, thanks for listening. And
if you're watching on YouTube, it is getting darker and darker. I'm using natural light for these, so now it's like almost dark in here. So that's why I've gradually gotten grainier and more Blair Witch Project-y. So thank you everybody. Good luck, Jay.
Oh, thank you.
We're all rooting for you. It's you're going to be even more fatigued tech stuff guy. So everybody, let's give a review. Let's
join the Patreon to support my family.
Something. Yeah, this week, do something for us. Like if you really are tight on money, totally understand. Well, then go leave a review. Go leave a review and subscribe to YouTube. Those are the free things. And if you got some extra money, come on. We're doubling the amount of kids affiliated with this podcast. So good luck, Jay. And
thank you.
God help us all.